Hi, welcome to my channel. In this video I'll show you 3 amazing DIYs using Dollar Tree items. Don't forget that next week I have another exciting project coming your way, so make sure to subscribe. Well, now that has been said, let's get started. For our first project, you will need one of these rubber bees. They can be found on the toy section of your Dollar Tree. The first thing that you want to do is to spray paint it. I selected this beautiful champagne color. I will link it down below. I like it a lot because it adds a vintage touch to any object. The first thing that I did was to spray paint it champagne, then I added some silver to add some highlight, and finally I added black, and then I cover it over with champagne, and this will add more shadow and more dimension to your object. Once it was sprayed, this is the result. Next, you want to turn your bee upside down and you want to drill a hole right on the center of it. Make sure that it's centered because it needs to be balanced once you place it on your furniture. Once your hole is created, you want to add a screw inside the hole and reinforce its borders with some strong adhesive. I will link the one that I'm using down below. Once everything is cured, these are the results. Just add it to any piece of furniture, and once everything is in place, these are the final results. I love how this turned out. It can be a perfect touch on a girl's bedroom, or if you want to add an interesting and quirky touch to any piece of furniture, it also works for that. I think this is a very easy project, and I absolutely love the results. For our next project, I selected one of these jewelry boxes that they carry on the craft section. The first step you want to take is to extract the hardware, that way we can paint it properly. The ones that I'm using are not from Dollar Tree, but I do believe that Dollar Tree carries a couple of mini screwdrivers that you can use to extract the hardware with ease. Once the hardware is extracted, we can go ahead and paint it. I selected gray and black. I will leave the link of the colors that I'm using down below in case you're interested. First, I painted the inside of the box black. I like to paint the inside of a jewelry box black because when you display jewelry, it makes it pop. Once the inside is painted, I went ahead and I painted the exterior with my gray color. Of course, you can always select your own color choices. I just personally prefer these. Once the jewelry box was fully painted and dry, we can go ahead and move on to the next step. I painted the hardware first with a gentle coat of black, and then I gently sprayed some silver. I like to use this technique because it makes metal look more vintage and it adds more dimension to it. This next step is what's going to make this jewelry box look very distinctive. I selected a couple of rocks from my personal collection. I do believe that Dollar Tree carries a couple on the gardening section. And what you want to do first is to add a collage on the top of your jewelry box. Just add a couple of rocks, see how they fit, and once you're happy, you can go ahead and glue them in place using a strong adhesive. If you want your rocks to have a similar hue to mine, you can go ahead and spray paint yours, that way they look silver and we will have a similar color story. Once I was happy, I went ahead and placed a couple of them on the front so it would look more cohesive. Once the rocks were cured, I went ahead and added a gentle silver touch on the front and the corners of my box, and on the bottom I used a sharp edge to help me paint a line on the bottom of it. Once everything was perfectly painted, these are the final results. I love how this turned out, especially if you like to use jewelry that have natural rocks like myself. You can keep your jewelry box and your jewelry in theme. Not to mention that this would look beautiful on a cabinet display or on your bedside table. I highly recommend this project. This next project, the base of it, we actually created it on a previous DIY video that I made, so I'm going to go over it very briefly. First, you want a couple of these candle holders, 5 to be exact, and you want to glue them together, and then you want to add something heavy on top so it can cure properly. We are creating a set of 3 so it has an unleveled look. So you want to create one with 5 candle holders, the next one with 3, and the last one with 1. Once all your candle holders are glued, you want to go ahead and spray paint it. I spray painted mine with gold and then I added a very gentle touch of silver. I like to use this technique because it gives the object more dimension, not to mention that it makes it look more metallic. While that is drying, we can move on to the next step. This next step is optional, but I decided to accent my base with crystal beads. I will link these down below. They come in a large quantity, so they last for a lot of projects, not to mention that they're fairly inexpensive. I cut 4 strands and I glued them on the corners of my tallest candle base. After, I selected this acrylic crystal bead and I glued it on the bottom to add a finish to it. I did this to the tallest one and also to the medium one. After, I accented with a couple of roses. I will briefly tell you how I transformed Dollar Tree roses into these ones. You want to select white roses, and the first color that you want to use is a pink color. After, I selected a vintage blush color and I focused mostly on the center of the rose to add more depth. Don't worry, I will list all of these colors down below. After, I selected silver and I added it to add some highlights to the rose, and next I used gold to add warmth. You want to let them air dry for a couple of hours, and once they're dry, you can go ahead and spray adhesive glue and then gently sprinkle some glitter on top to add a pop of shimmer. Once your roses are created, you can go ahead and accent your candle base as you see fit. As I mentioned before, this is from a previous DIY video. I will list it down below in case you are interested to see how I did this step by step in a better tutorial. But we will only be using this as the base for our lamp, so that's why I want to do this quickly so we can focus on the other steps. Once your base is created, you want to select 3 of these locker magnets and you want to extract the top portion and you want to spray the bottom. I used the same champagne color from before to add a vintage touch, but because these are metals, I do suggest you add an adhesive sealer. That way it won't scratch off. Once painted, you want to go ahead and extract the magnet portion that's on the bottom of it. Once extracted, using a strong adhesive, you want to glue it to your base. Make sure that it's centered. Once you're happy with its position, you can go ahead and add something heavy so it can cure in place. You want to do this to all 3 candle holders. Next, you want to select 3 of these flower vases. These are the specific shape that you should pick for this project. First, you want to add some fairy lights inside. I know that Dollar Tree carries fairy lights, but I personally prefer using a more permanent light fixture, so I added these that are remote control operated and they're plug-ins. I will list them down below in case you're interested. I just added a couple of roses inside, and once that was done, I just placed it on top of the base. And once everything was in place, these are the final results. I sincerely love how these turned out. If you want to use them as bedside table lamps, you can create a second set. And they add a very gentle lighting to your space, but most importantly, they add a very whimsical touch to it. So if that's the look that you're going for, I highly recommend this project. And with this, we conclude this video really quick. Don't forget to subscribe to my sister's channel. She's been more active lately, so I highly recommend. Also visit my bunny's channel. I will leave all these links down below. Finally, don't forget to visit my online boutique and to follow me on Instagram to stay in touch. Well, now that has been said, once again, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I sincerely appreciate it. I wish you all a very blessed week. May God bless you, and goodbye.